Doubling of farmers' income under sustainable agriculture and risk management is seen. The Honorable Prime Minister of India made a statement on 28th February 2015 at Bareilly on doubling farmers' income by the year 2022. Accordingly, we need to shift from green revolution to income revolution for farmers. Prior to this, the cornerstone of agri policy objective has been to ensure food security by increasing agriculture output. Implicit in this strategy was an underlying assumption that benefits of increased production and productivity would have a trickle down effect on farmers' welfare in terms of their income level. However, this policy intent has not been fully realized and the farmers' income have not risen commensurately as expected. India can ill afford to continue with tonnage-centric agri policy because increasing production does not automatically translate into higher levels of farmers' income. The disparity in income level between agriculture and non-agriculture sector are huge. To move towards accomplishing higher level of farmers' welfare, we need to focus on 6 broad measures. These are: first is creating an enabling policy framework, second, intensification of farming, diversification to high value agriculture, third, reforms in agri marketing and agri logistics, fourth, stable agriculture trade policy, fifth, transfer of technology lab to land, and sixth is agriculture insurance to cover risk. Let us now elaborate each of these measures. First is creating an enabling policy framework. Under this, following measures are recommended. There is a need to encourage the right and optimal kind of rural industrialization that captures more value from the produce and generate jobs through near farm or on farm activity. Primary value addition needs to be encouraged at village level on a cottage scale. Skilling of agri labor to enable them to command higher wages and nudge them to move to other sectors of the economy. Land is inelastic, yet activity can add income elasticity. For instance, enable farmers to be producer of solar energy, that is Urja Data, and let them play a significant role in the country's ambition to be one of the front runners in the International Solar Alliance for clean energy. The cost of labor, that is wage rates, are going to outstrip the cost of capital in near future, and therefore human labor is going to be an issue. The solution lies in promoting farm mechanization, custom hiring centers on pay per use basis like Uberization, just as an example. Ensure conservation of scarce resources like water, land and electricity, and achieve per drop more crop. Help farmers to move towards green and sustainable agriculture practices. Inherent policy bias in the existing policy framework need to be addressed to make it more balanced. Second is intensification of farming, diversification to high value agriculture. Empirics show that increasing production and productivity alone do not necessarily augment farmers' total income. Land, the principal asset of the farmer, has direct bearing on the production and associated income to individual farmers. The average size of operational holding ebbed from 1.84 hectare in 1980 to 81 to 1.0 hectare in 2015-16, and this trend is likely to continue in the near future. The dominance of marginal and small farm holding in India has increased considerably by 10 percentage points to 85% during the corresponding period. Crop geometry captures shares of value from crop specific area under cultivation. It reveals that rice, wheat and corn together give rise to just 19% of the value from 42% of area under crop cultivation. Contrast this with horticulture crop, which occupies 12% of land and gives 25% of the value. Land is an important factor of production and needs to be used more judiciously. Therefore, there is a need to release surplus land under cereals for high value commodities. Against this backdrop, we need to lay more emphasis on allied activities such as dairy, poultry, fisheries and food processing. The critical interlinkages between size of holding, propensity to adopt high-tech, credit farm mechanization be established. Third is reforms in agri marketing and agri logistics. Agriculture production should move from plate to plow, implying that production decisions should be demand driven. Crops should be cultivated based on the food habits of people and those which are highly demanded, rather than being independent of demand. It should emit signals to farmer as to what to produce, how to produce and for whom to produce. This calls for policy intelligence to nudge farmers not to cultivate the same crop en masse, else it leads to cobweb syndrome, which follows a particular pattern. Let me briefly touch upon the cobweb syndrome. When prices of commodity surge, farmers produce more of that crop next season and prices fall due to excessive supply. Farmers change crop next season, the supply reduces and the seesaw cycle repeats. The price signal is ex post, that is after the sale, and the farmer's reaction is ex post facto, after the fact has relevance. For the farmers, the temporal increase in prices of a crop is a false signal to sow more of that particular crop in the next season. The time lag effect between price signal and sowing pattern is an acute failure of marketing system. The fluctuation is a result of unguided action and reaction. As a result, future growth is stunted while price and supply balance to reach a steady state. Therefore, marketing system is to be made efficient by providing a price signal that is ex ante. Under this policy, enable farmers to cultivate crops according to demand as per experts' finding to make agriculture profitable. For instance, palm oil cultivation in coastal area be promoted as India is deficient and imports large quantity of this commodity. India can consider designing one village, one competitive product OVOP as a business to gain sales revenue. Such a model is in vogue in certain countries like Japan and Thailand. Due to gaps in the storage and marketing infrastructure, poor handling practices, lack of proper storage and infrastructure, and absence of post-harvest protocol, the country suffers huge post-harvest losses. Therefore, reforms are needed in storage and agri logistics, including integrated cold chain, warehousing, and food processing. Fourth is stable agriculture trade policy. Trade policy for agriculture should aim to facilitate and promote ease of doing business rather than be restrictive and disruptive to business planning. Trade regime, export promotion and credit policy that affect agriculture trade including export and import of agriculture produce have tended to have an inadequate focus on the interests of farmers. A cogent agriculture trade policy ought to be rooted in the long-term food and nutritional security concerns of the country along with promoting farmers' connection with the global markets. However, the instrument of international agri trade is often used to control prices in the domestic market in reaction to short-term supply bottlenecks. This tends to negatively impact farmers' income. Since short-term view of trade policy compounds the existing risk and uncertainty for farmers, a stable trade regime be designed to maintain a long-term view to help farmers build market relationships at the global level. Fifth is transfer of technology from lab to land. The linkage between the research in our lab and its use by the farmers needs considerable strengthening. While a section of farmers is forward looking and takes advantage of various support services such as soil health cards, Kisan credit card, soil testing labs and Kisan call centers, not majority of them do so. Development of suitable extension program is inevitable to improve farmers' income. Agriculture university should guide farmers on what, when and how of farming depending upon local conditions. Additionally, integrated farming system models for smallholders in different agroclimatic conditions need to be popularized through Krishi Vigyan Kendra and state agriculture university on a massive scale. Emerging technology, AI, IoT and blockchain be adopted under the agriculture sector. Sixth is agriculture insurance. Agriculture is like an enterprise under an open sky where the vagaries of weather leave the farmers vulnerable and affect their incomes. Along with the perils of floods and drought, global warming and climate change are additional challenges being faced by the agriculture sector. While the launching of flagship PMFBY Prime Minister's Fasal Bima Yojana is a step in the right direction to protect farmers against risk, The low insurance coverage due to a variety of reasons such as affordability of premium, delay in settlement of insurance claim is a cause of concern. This signals the necessity of appropriate changes in the designing of the scheme. To recapitulate, when agriculture policy framework is reoriented along with other measures as outlined, it will lead to higher level of incomes of farmers through monetization of high value of their produce, congenial trade policy environment and covering farmers against risk. Doubling of farmer income is a dream envisaged with eyes wide open and it is accomplishable.